Hello and welcome back to Daily English Dialogues, the podcast that helps you navigate the real world of English conversation. I'm your host, Mike.
And I'm Vicki. It's great to be with you all again. Today we're diving into a topic that so many learners ask about, enhancing mental agility and conversational confidence.
Exactly. We're talking about the ability to think on your feet, because speaking a language isn't just about knowing the words, it's about being able to use them quickly and effectively in a live conversation.
That's so true, Mike. Quick thinking is what makes conversations flow naturally. It's the bridge between knowing English and truly communicating with confidence. Without it, you can feel stuck, even if you have a great vocabulary.
So today, we're going to break down why this happens and give you some really practical strategies to train your brain to be faster and more agile in English.
Let's start with a situation I'm sure many of our listeners have experienced. Mike, have you ever been in a conversation where someone asks you a question and your mind just goes completely blank?
Oh, absolutely. It's that classic brain freeze moment. You know the answer, you have the vocabulary, but nothing comes out. It's incredibly frustrating. You're just standing there, searching for the perfect word while the silence gets more and more awkward.
Precisely. And this is one of the most common hurdles for non-native speakers. It often stems from two things: overthinking and performance anxiety. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect, to use complex grammar and impressive vocabulary in every single sentence.
Right. That pressure to perform.
Exactly. And that anxiety is what causes the brain to freeze. It's a self-defeating cycle. The more you worry about making a mistake, the harder it is to think clearly, which then makes you more anxious.
Another huge factor is translating in your head. If you're hearing a question in English, translating it to your native language, forming a response, and then translating it back into English, well, the conversation will have moved on by the time you're ready to speak.
That mental translation is a major speed bump. The goal is to get to a point where you can think directly in English. And don't worry, that's a skill we can build. So let's move on to the practical part. How do we actually overcome these hurdles?
This is the good stuff. The first strategy is something that even native speakers use all the time: learning to use filler phrases effectively.
Yes, this is such an important tip. A filler phrase is a word or phrase you use to buy yourself a few seconds to think without creating an awkward silence. It signals to the other person that you've heard them and you're preparing a response.
So instead of just silence, you can say something like, that's an interesting question, let me think. Or, well, you know.
Other great examples are to be honest, actually, or even a simple let me see. Using these makes the conversation feel much more natural and gives your brain the valuable time it needs to catch up.
It's a total game changer. Okay, strategy number 2. Simplify your sentences. I think many learners believe they need to construct these long, elaborate sentences to sound fluent.
That's a common misconception. In reality, clarity is much more important than complexity. If you try to build a perfect complex sentence in your head, you're more likely to get lost and freeze.
So the advice is to use shorter, simpler sentences. Get your main point across first. Then you can add more details with another sentence if you need to. Communication is about being understood, not about showing off your grammar skills.
Exactly. For example, instead of struggling to say, despite the challenging market conditions that have been forecasted, I believe our particular industry still possesses significant potential for growth. You could just say, the market looks tough, but I think our industry can still grow.
Same message, but so much easier and faster to say. I love that. Okay, what's our third strategy, Vicki?
Our third strategy is to anticipate questions. In many conversations, you can predict what the other person might ask you. If you're at a party, people will likely ask what you do for work or what you did last weekend. In a job interview, they'll ask about your strengths.
So you can prepare.
You can. And this isn't about memorizing a script. That can sound unnatural. It's about spending 5 minutes beforehand thinking about the topic. What are some key vocabulary words? What are the main ideas you want to share?
That's a great point. You're essentially warming up your brain. You're activating that specific part of your English knowledge so that when the question comes, the words and ideas are already near the surface, ready to go.
Precisely. It reduces that processing time dramatically and helps you feel much more prepared and confident.
I think the most important thing we can tell our listeners today is that this ability, this mental agility, is a skill that can be developed. It's not some innate talent that you either have or you don't.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a muscle. You wouldn't go to the gym once and expect to be strong. You have to train it consistently. Every conversation is a workout for your brain.
That's a perfect analogy. And with every workout, it gets a little easier and you get a little faster. You have to be patient with yourself and celebrate the small victories.
So let's talk about some specific exercises or resources to build this muscle. One thing I always recommend is to focus on active vocabulary building. Don't just memorize lists of words.
Right. Because knowing a word and being able to use it in a conversation are two very different things.
They are. When you learn a new word, immediately try to use it in a sentence that's relevant to your own life. Use a flashcard app, but instead of just the word and its definition, include your example sentence. This creates a personal connection and makes the word easier to recall under pressure.
I have another great exercise for this. I call it the 1-minute topic. You set a timer for 1 minute, pick a random object in front of you, like a coffee mug or a pen, and you talk about it nonstop for the full minute.
Oh, I love that. It sounds challenging.
It is. The goal isn't to be brilliant or profound. The goal is just to keep talking. It forces you to bypass that perfect sentence filter in your brain and just speak. It trains you to connect ideas quickly and keep the flow going, which is the core of mental agility.
That's a fantastic suggestion. And to take it a step further, you could even record yourself doing it. Listening back can help you notice where you hesitate or if you're overusing certain words. It provides valuable feedback for your next practice session.
All right, so as we start to wrap up, let's quickly summarize the key takeaways for our listeners. Another powerful technique I've seen work wonders is shadowing. Have you used that one much, Vicki?
Of course. First, don't be afraid to use filler phrases to buy yourself some thinking time. Second, keep your sentences simple and clear. Third, anticipate common questions to warm up your brain beforehand.
And remember that this is a skill you build through practice. Try exercises like active vocabulary building and the 1-minute topic challenge to train your mental muscles.
I'd like to add one final point. Practice active listening. A conversation isn't a speech. By truly listening to what the other person is saying, you not only show respect, but also give your brain more time to process and formulate a thoughtful reply. It takes the pressure off you to be constantly thinking of what to say next.
That's the foundation of it all. Be present in the conversation, and don't be afraid to improvise a little. Fluency isn't about perfection, it's about connection.
Well said, Mike. We hope these strategies help all of you out there feel more confident and agile in your English conversations.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Daily English Dialogues. Try one of these tips this week and let us know how it goes. Keep practicing.
Until next time.